Today we're talking about celebrity catfishing scams.
Amanda says, "Hi Catfish team, I'm writing on behalf of my mom who believes she's in a relationship with 29-year-old comedian Matt Rife."
Sent almost $1 million. Britney confided in Tommy that she had been talking to someone she believed was Ronnie Radke. I knew AI was about to be terrifying, but this is so sad. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. I am Sherrilyn and I am so glad you found me. I'm really excited to talk about today's episode today. I feel like this is a topic that a lot of us like Sippindales kind of get like, I don't know what the word is, like enthralled by. I don't know if it's because I was briefly catfished and I never knew who did it. And now anytime I hear about catfishing, like I need to know the whys. Did we catch this person? Did they tell us why? What was the motive? Mine was different because most of the ones that we're going to hear about today are like financial. Mine was like an emotional manipulative situation. It was very short-lived. We've talked about it on the podcast, on mine and Chelsea's podcast, Here for the Clout podcast. Maybe don't go. It's like very embarrassing. But today we're talking about celebrity catfishing scams. Two of them involve large sums of money, but then there is an emotional scandal that involved two celebrities. Okay, so let's get into it. Before we do though, I have a quick message for you. For today's sponsor, I am teaming up with Bellesa and we are giving away free toys or gift cards toward toys for everybody who signs up for this giveaway. You can find that link in my description. If you've never heard about Bellesa, they are a company created by women for women and they're all about celebrating sexuality, wellness in a way that feels good and like shame-free, which I love. I want to go through a couple of the game changers that they now have. These are not your average toys, specifically the Flutter Wand and Key Vibe. So the Flutter Wand is wild. It's designed to stimulate oral play. One end has like a tongue and a suction cup, and the other has a G-spot massager. So it's basically all of your bases covered in one toy. And then there's the Key Vibe, aka the date night MVP, if you will. It is a wearable vibe with a remote that looks like car keys. So you can have, dinner with your partner and hand them the keys. And then it, syncs to the toy. And no one in the restaurant will know what is going on except for you. I'm telling you, their selection it gets better and better. So if you've been eyeing this brand, make sure you sign up for my giveaway because like I said, Bellesa is giving away free toys or gift cards towards your purchase. The link to sign up is in the description. And then make sure you also check out the rest of their site as well because they have so much to offer and shop for. Once again, you can sign up for the giveaway through the description. They're giving away free toys or gift cards towards your purchase. Thank you again, Bellesa, for sponsoring today's video. Okay, let's start with the most recent one. And somebody was catfished by who they believed was Matt Rife. It was a catfish pretending to be Matt Rife. If you don't know who Matt Rife is, he's an American comedian and actor. He's best known for very viral crowd work clips that were like on TikTok, like good clippable moments. Seems like very like off the cuff and crowd work stuff and being I guess like conventionally good looking. He went pretty viral for a dramatic change in his appearance as well, saying that like the only thing that he changed about himself was getting veneers. Personally, I don't know how you go from this jaw to the current one. Listen, I can't say for sure like you didn't get plastic surgery, Matt Rife. Like, and if he didn't have to spend money, good for him. Good for you. If veneers were able to do that, excellent. Now he's had a little bit of controversy. In 2023, Netflix released his comedy special called Natural Selection, and that had quite a bit of backlash, mainly because he opened up with a domestic violence joke, and it's like, okay. In the joke, he says like he and his friends were at a diner. The hostess had a black eye and his friend was like, I wonder why they didn't put her in like, the back so that customers wouldn't see the black eye and have questions. And Matt was like, I feel like if she could cook, she wouldn't have had that black eye. Like, good one. Didn't make the impact like he obviously thought it would. People thought it was misogynistic, distasteful, not funny. To be honest, the whole special wasn't really that funny. He didn't do the crowd work that he's like best known for. And the scripted stuff, it was just like it was really hard for, I think, a lot of people to watch. Yeah, it's just like an odd choice because like even on like Wild 'N Out, like is kind of like that is where he started. Again, like all like improv. So I don't know. He's obviously doing fine. I think he's like still touring and stuff like that. And also, he's constantly trying to thwart thwart off catfish impersonators pretending to be him to scam women, particularly older women. And that like upsets me. And there could be, I mean, genuinely, like in these types of situations, I have noticed that it is older, not just women, but men as well, just because like they don't know how easy it is to like fake AI and stuff. I'm not saying like everybody, but like even like my mother-in-law, for example, like she was just scammed out of a lot of money, believing that she was talking to like the Canada Revenue Agency. And it's just, I don't know, it's just getting too eerie these days, especially with things like AI. And Matt Rife, like a whole part of his bit is that he loves like the mature broads, you know? Like, so I guess it's not like far off because there's so many clips of him just being like, I love them. I love them older. So then the older gals are like, okay, yeah, baby, let's go. Now, the most recent victim that we know of right now, public has gone public. And that's another thing. A lot of people don't go public. So you don't even know like how many of these scams are going on behind the scenes. But the most recent one is a 71-year-old woman named Nancy, who was in a recent episode of Catfished on YouTube. Not Catfish with like Neve, but Catfished on YouTube. And Nancy believed that she was in a relationship and even engaged to Matt Rife. She even has his initials, I don't know if she still does, but tattooed like on her ring finger. And she has sent him close to $100,000. That was already gone by the time her daughter Amanda had reached out to get help from catfished people to try and prove that Nancy was not talking to Matt Rife. I'll have the full episode linked so you guys can watch if you want to see like it in full. And then there's like lots of other ones too that you can kind of go down into like a rabbit hole with.
Amanda says, hi, Catfish team. I'm writing on behalf of my mom who believes she's in a relationship with 29-year-old comedian Matt Rife.
Had so many conversations with her about how this isn't true. She's actually admitted on a number of occasions that she doesn't think it's Matt Rife. She goes as far as believing that when he's on stage and she texts him, he responds in the middle of his show. She messages them all day long. When are you going to send me money? When are you going to buy gift cards? That's really like the long and short of all they talk about. Every day, I love you so much. I can't wait to be with you. And then he'll say like the same thing, but can you send me money?
Now, one thing to note is like gift cards is such a blaring red flag in these types of scams, not just catfishing scams, but like scams in general, especially like Bitcoin and stuff like that. I've also seen it done like where people get like caught up in like job applications, like people be like, we're recruiting, can we send you information? And then maybe you're at a point in your life where you're like, oh yeah, I did put my resume out there. I do want something. And then there's like, we need this information so we can send this, and then you can send this back, and then that's how you're going to get paid because it's like a remote job. I don't know. Gift cards, big red flag. So is Telegram, which is often used in these types of situations where like fans or supporters of somebody comment on like a video or like a photo on their social media, and then they get a response from that person, and it's like that person's name. They'll even like use whatever profile photo they have at that time, so it looks like it's that account replying, and then it says like, hey, like thanks for reaching out, like come talk to me like privately on Telegram. So when you see Telegram, usually that's like, again, like just like a I don't know, that's my alarm. I usually say like it's pretty easy to tell if it was actually that person messaging or not, like saying to go over to Telegram, because when you click on that profile, you'll see that it usually brings you to like another page, not the one that you just commented on. And most often it's like one that's like verified with the check mark. So if you're like clicking on something and it's not like you're not still in that person's page and you've gone somewhere else, it's a scam. And celebrities or like even YouTubers or influencers, because this happens a lot it's happened on my YouTube videos as well, where somebody will comment something and then there'll be like an automatic reply and it'll look like my profile photo and it'll say like, come and talk to me on Telegram. And I've had to make like community posts about it being like, I don't have Telegram. And a lot of people like don't use Telegram. So, some things that I like, like a purpose here. So it's like an education session today. Now, the kicker with Nancy is that this could actually have gone so much worse. I mean, $100,000 is huge money, but in her situation, she was about to come into a lot more money. She was in the process of divorcing her husband and selling her $4 million home and then splitting that sale with, her ex-husband. So like $2 million each. And the catfish knew this and was probably like salivating at the mouth. They are talking all day long through text. She would even receive video messages from, who she thinks is Matt Rife to keep her, believing that she's talking to him so that they can get this money. Now, the reality of the situation is Matt Rife is doing just fine, okay? He's got to be worth millions at this point, and like critically thinking, like we know this, okay? But again, people who catfish or like who con artists target are often like in a vulnerable place, and it's not to just be like, oh, like they knew that this person was vulnerable. The way that I think about it, it's like throwing like, you know, like past at a wall and like just hoping something sticks. Is that an analogy? You know what I mean? That's what it is, because I'll even get like scam texts and calls like on the daily. So they're putting in the work. They're just waiting for that, like that one vulnerable person to be like, oh, okay. And then, you know, like it's like sales. You know, you're going to get 10 no's before you get a yes. And you're just like expecting that. It's terrible because like this is horrible, like looking at someone as like a sale and a con, but you know what I mean. So Nancy, you know, like being this person who gets this message and then like decides to like reply back after I'm sure like hundreds of people prior to that didn't, and she's going through a divorce. She's pretty much in this ideal situation for these con artists. And she even said in the interview that she did on the Catfish YouTube channel that she's been in 2 unhappy, unhealthy relationships, and that this was the first time that like she was showered with, you know, like that in love feeling. And she explains like how everything unfolded exactly how I just said it. It was pretty much she came across one of his videos, she thought he was funny, commented on it. Next thing she knows, Matt Rife, air quote Matt Rife, is in her DMs. And even though Matt Rife has been like publicly in like a publicly confirmed relationship, the person Nancy was talking to said that this was, you know, kind of all staged. The management team made him and his girlfriend, you know, like do this. This again is like something that's super common, is because like, how are you gonna like be like, oh, I saw you out with so and so because of like paparazzi and stuff, and they'll be like, oh, you know, like we're industry plants, man. We've got to do what they say. We got to work the system, even though that doesn't really make sense. Like for Matt Rife, like I feel like a lot of his base is like females, and like when he announced his relationship, people were like, boo. But for Nancy, because of AI, she was able to like believe and hold on a lot longer, because like he would send videos to her.
My love, my heart, my forever, happy Valentine's Day, my beautiful wife, no matter how far apart we are, my love for you knows no distance.
This is terrifying though, okay? So like we just saw the like, hey baby, you know, video, but the team, the Catfish team that was helping Nancy's daughter, Amanda, convinced Nancy that she's not talking to the real Matt Rife. They found the real video that was posted, and that's not what he says in it. This is the real video.
We found the videos that you were sent.
So I took a screenshot from this video here, and I ran it through our website, and I ran a reverse image search on this, and I had received this.
And there's absolutely nothing I hate more than talking to my fucking phone to do a video. But I have to, because shows are selling out super fast for this year's tour, and I'm going to post an updated flyer. It's going to be on the next slide. That has all this year's cities and dates on this. Go get your tickets while you can. They're moving fast, and I want to see you guys. So get a babysitter, get parking, get dinner, get on a good dress, or don't. Come naked. I don't care. Here's the flyer. I'll see you there.
Like terrifying. I know AI. I knew AI was about to be terrifying, but this is so sad. It's terrible. I guess another thing to be aware of, like, because then again, you're like, okay, like, how do I know that I'm not actually talking to this person? Like, if that looks like so believable. And yes, there's like certain things that like you can look for, but if you're not looking for it, or if you don't know, you know, you're already kind of like vulnerable and like just like gaslighting yourself to just be like, yes, this is a relationship. This man of my dreams is going to be my husband. Like, you kind of like don't even want to look for the signs. But another big one is like, usually these people aren't going to like get on FaceTime or like talk on the phone. In this case, Nancy was told that Matt said he didn't want to FaceTime or talk on the phone because the divorce wasn't official. He was okay with sending texts and like these AI videos, but wasn't like okay with like getting on like FaceTime or talking on the phone. And I don't want these people to like figure it out, but like pretty sure like we're pretty much there, like where you can go on apps and like make it look like it's that person and change the voice and stuff like that is just, I don't know what we're doing anymore, you guys. Something else that she said, you know, like has kind of like kept her there believing that things is that she got an engagement ring in the mail, you know, was from Temu, unfortunately, and it turned her finger green. But it just kind of goes to show that the lengths that these people do, like to like make the effort to go and like send something in the mail, you know? And then also how like quickly they can build like trust and stuff like that, because now they've got all of this knowledge of these people's lives, like your address, knowing that you're going through a divorce, probably like what led to it, how much money you're going to be making. They probably know like the realtor and stuff like that. It's just like, it's so eerie. And I know that it's hard to understand, but they're also very convincing about the reasons why they need money sometimes. So the first time that she was asked for money was because Matt said that his management had his funds set up to go to them and not him. And he was in the process of taking them to court because they were not releasing the funds to him. Now, if you were to look into like certain ways that, you know, like celebrities and stuff like that get paid, that's not uncommon. Like even for like my job on YouTube, when I work with brands, like because I have management, like if I was just like doing it on my own and getting brand deals on my own, of course it would go to me directly. But since I have like a team that is helping me, it does go to them first and then get dispersed to me. So there's like elements of like truth, right? Like that you could believe. Another time he said one of his phones was stolen and he needed gift cards so that he could buy a new one. And so she went and got the gift cards, like, you know, scratched the little code off. They take a picture. She also said she had like 5 credit cards maxed out and had sent thousands of dollars in cash through the mail on several occasions. And it's just so sad. It's really sad. It's so easy to just be like, I would never do that. And we just don't know, right? Like there's so much emotional manipulation going on as well. Once they build trust, then it's also like kind of like you already know you're talking to somebody who's vulnerable. And then you kind of like bring them up, love bomb them, and then like take them down to like keep them and manipulate them even further, if that makes sense. So Nancy would say like she'd get blamed for things like not caring enough about him to get him money since like everything's tied up, when she knows he's like good for it because she can like see that he's touring and doing all of these things. This goes even deeper though. So like I just said, there was cash that was being sent through the mail. Again, it's like another like, okay, well that's like an address, right? Like, so this is going somewhere. And what the investigation team found out was that it was going to another woman's house who also believed that she was talking to Matt Rife. And there were others also like in this scam alone. So there's money that's being sent back and forth, but the women who are sending it believe that they're sending it to Matt Rife's assistant, who's going to get it like to him quicker, and then like vice versa. So then the other stuff that's getting sent back or like to the next person, since there were like multiple like girlfriends, but all those girlfriends think they're the only girlfriend, that they're sending it to assistants. It's very complicated. And then when it reaches like, you know, the intended recipient, it's still one of the women, right? Like it's one of the either girlfriends or assistant, and depending on, I'm making this so much more complicated. We're going to name names. Okay, so Nancy was sending it to another woman named Michelle. Michelle thinks that like Nancy is Matt's assistant. Nancy thinks Michelle is Matt's assistant. So Nancy's sending Michelle the assistant money. Michelle believes that that's Nancy's the assistant. So when Michelle gets the money, she buys the gift card, scratches it off, and then sends it to Matt. Catfish Matt. I made that so much more complicated than it actually was. I don't know why you guys keep coming back. It really means so much to me. It really truly does. Please don't leave me. So the gift cards are what makes this virtually untraceable, because you're like, why? What's with the gift cards? But that's the whole thing. So it's like they're like laundering. What do they call them? They call like women like Nancy and Michelle like the money mules. So they're like laundering that money that's coming in, putting it onto a gift card, and now that's untraceable. I'm going to also link a post that I came across on Reddit because it's wild actually to read. There's actually quite a few people on that Reddit post who shared their own experiences, like who had also been catfished by, and I mean, we don't know if it's all the same person pretending to be Matt Rife or if it's like multiple people pretending to be Matt Rife, but we know that like Matt Rife's likeliness is being used to catfish a lot of people. And then you can like see firsthand, like on the Reddit as well, like just, it's mind boggling. And they even say right there, they're like, I knew better, but like something about the story sounded convincing. And a lot of them were able to get out. I mean, prior to it getting to like the hundreds of thousands, but it's still like, it's just crazy to think about. It's just so sad to think that like people who can do this, like how they sleep at night. And that's why I don't like the opinion of being like, I would never, like, how could you? Or like, even when people are like, you deserve it. Like, it's like, no one deserves this at all. And it should be, how do you sleep at night? Like, how do these people who do this, how do they sleep at night? How do they look themselves in the mirror? I don't get it. So Matt Rife apparently knows about this. He has repeatedly warned fans about these con artists and said he will never privately message you. He does not have Telegram. He doesn't know what Telegram is. And he said, never in a million years would I ask you for money. Okay, this next one was also, I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm not gonna lie, there was a moment I saw a couple photos that I did giggle to, okay? I did giggle when I did see the photos, just because I'm like, there is like really, really crazy convincing AI out there. And then this one, I was like, oh no, Anne, no. Not like, I wasn't giggling like because of her, just like at the quality of the photo. We'll see photos. You guys will be able to like see what I'm talking about, but still, like, we still have empathy. Okay, you guys. Another catfish romance scam happened to a gal named Anne. Much more money was lost, and her catfish, she believed she was talking to Brad Pitt. So Anne is a French interior designer. She's 53 years old, and she believed that she was in a relationship with Brad Pitt and sent almost $1 million. It was around $850,000 to these people. And this is interesting because this one, it wasn't actually Brad who initially reached out to her. So Anne says that in February 2023, she was contacted on Instagram by an account that was claiming to be Brad Pitt's mom, Jane Pitt, and told Anne that her son, he needed someone like exactly like her. She like came across her. She's like, this is who Bradley needs. So days later, the scammer ups the ante, and Brad Pitt now messages Anne himself. And she said initially she did think like, this is fake, this is absolutely ridiculous, but admits that like she wasn't used to social media. So she kind of just like, it was very confusing. Again, like, you're like gaslighting yourself, because of course you're just like, Brad? What? You found me? Is it Brad? Is this Brad? And so she, she just confused herself and got drawn in. So over the weeks, who Anne believes to be Brad Pitt is like showering Anne with affectionate, like little notes, sending her poems. They're like talking constantly. And eventually through talking, like they're building trust. These people are building trust like over time. I think that's another misconception, is like, this is not like one conversation you just like spew out your life story. This is like very like time invested cons. So eventually Anne, confides to Brad that she's going to be coming into, or recently came into, a large sum of money for divorcing her ex-husband. And so the fake Brad Pitt, what do you know it? All of a sudden, he's in financial ruins. He says that he desperately needs money for urgent medical treatment. That was his excuse. So with Matt, it was a managerial, if you will, issue. With Brad Pitt, I don't want to say the fake Brad Pitt, with who she believed was Brad Pitt, it was a medical treatment. Specifically, he needed funds for, I think it was like a cancer-related kidney procedure. And he said that, yes, I'm Brad Pitt. It's clear I have money, but all of my assets are tied up, and then says that he was locked out of his bank accounts due to the divorce with Angelina Jolie. So like, this person was like dragging Angelina in it. Poor Jane, Brad's mom. But like, I get it, like, you're confused. Again, you're like, oh, that makes sense. They are going through like a really like contentious divorce. Freaking Angelina, and now he's got to get surgery and she doesn't care. So he sends even these like, these AI generated photos of Brad in the hospital bed as proof, and those were kind of like, I'm sorry, I did giggle. I think it's the one that really sent me was the one where it's like the drape is up and then like you can like see his face. Like, I'm not gonna lie, you guys, I could see my mom being like, this is Brad, like, look at him. No, neither of my moms could ever like fall for it, but I get it. Okay, it's the photos kind of sent me. It's okay. All right. So yeah, it was over a year. Brad was having several medical issues, procedures that needed to be done, and was just doing the right thing. So over a year, she wired wired a total of 830 euros, which is about 850,000 American. And she said that that was pretty much like her whole life savings, like everything that she had had. Everything came to head with Anne in mid 2024. So last year, we're in 2025. If you're watching from the future, hello. But she said that it was when, like news media outlets had reported that, the real Brad Pitt was dating jewelry designer Inez de Ramon. And then she confronted. And I think actually, I'm lying. I don't think she did. I think because she had already confronted so much. And then this is when she saw it and him walking the red carpet and being okay, he's not in a hospital bed. This is live. He's out with her right now. I've been duped. She went and filed a police complaint with French authorities. And at this point, I think there is an investigation. I know that there was. I don't know if anyone has been identified. And again, there's pretty crafty ways. I'm willing to guarantee that a lot of that money that was wired, again, was a similar situation where it's how it's getting traced is to somebody else who is falling for the scam. What I learned was I had heard that one, and I think it was because of the photos caught my attention so much. So I latched onto that one, but I didn't realize that there was actually an actual huge Brad Pitt impersonation ring that was busted in Spain also in 2024. So there were 5 scammers. This was this whole operation that were arrested for defrauding 2 women out of, I think it was 350,000 euros. So it was almost 150 euros each. In this situation, investigators were able to trace it back to this whole ring with 5 scammers. As far as we know, though, I don't think that it's been confirmed that this was connected to Anne's case. But I mean, I guess the years and stuff like that, it totally could. And like I said, it spreads so far and wide, and so many people are involved, not only behind the scenes of the con impersonating this person, but also the victims, and they all kind of get intertwined. And as far as we know, Brad Pitt does not have any official social media profile, so that's another big thing to consider. If you don't see the verification check mark, that's usually a pretty telltale sign that you're not actually talking to that person. If there's no check mark, because in order to get that, you have to send your identification. In most cases, it'll be put your picture on and then send your ID and have that verified. I remember back in the day, you were able to just do it with a piece of paper, but now it's your ID. Okay, so what I've recently come to learn is, these types of scams don't just happen to, the elderly men or women out there, or just even the everyday person. I'm not judging. I've also been catfished and scammed. Gosh darn it. I should just have an adult. I need an adult, I think, most days. Yeah. Anyways, recently, Chelsea and I talked about this on the podcast. We saw the world out there. Anybody who follows, I don't know, celebrity dramas and gossips and stuff like that, it was a celebrity on celebrity catfish situation. And I still don't know how I feel about this one. So I'm very, curious and interested to hear your guys' thoughts. So the victim is herself a celebrity. Her name is Britney Furlan. She had gained a really big following as a comedy content creator on Vine. I think she was the most followed female video star. I think Jesse and I talked about this. Jesse was always second, or at one point Jesse was first and then Britney went second. I don't know, but very interesting little era of her life. So she popped off on Vine for comedy, and then when that platform shut down in 2017, she expanded her career. She continued to go on into acting, podcasting. She did a lot of TikTok and the social media influencing. And then she happens to be the wife of Motley Crue drummer Tommy Lee. Now, I guess the two of them met on Raya in 2017. And their relationship seemed to be relatively solid. She would have him in TikTok videos, and they just kind of I don't know, they appeared to be quite a normal couple, as normal as it could be, being married to somebody like Tommy Lee, I guess. And then just a couple weeks ago, so again, if you're hearing from the future, May 2025, some people were very surprised to hear that there were rumors that the two of them were splitting, and that Tommy Lee had unfollowed her on social media and then posted a video to his story reacting to, this new song of his called Stupid Girl. From what I saw when he was reacting to that, because he looked like he was definitely crashing out a little bit, was the initial reaction from people and speculation was okay, Tommy he's gone off, like he's on a bender right now and she's done. I think even TMZ had said that like his drinking was getting out of control and that she was no longer in the house. But then it came out that it was most likely on Britney and that she had gotten caught up in some type of emotional affair with a Ronnie Radke catfish. Now, I had no idea who he was until all of this went down, but I guess a lot of like, you know, like the OG emo crowd, they know who Ronnie Radke is. He is the lead vocalist of a band called Falling in Reverse, and he's the former lead singer of Escape the Fate. I don't know why I said it like that. Ronnie, I'm kind of scared of Ronnie. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen him in a lot of comments and he's just like, I don't know why he's reacting this way to this at all. But he's also like, yeah, he's a little bit like kind of concerning because he's been involved in some pretty alarming legal issues and charges. So in 2006, there was an incident where he was in a confrontation that led to a fatality. He was charged with battery with substantial bodily harm and possession of brass knuckles, and it resulted in a prison sentence. So I guess he had met up with a young man named Marcel Colquitt. This was near Shadow Ridge High School, and the whole plan was to like settle some beef that they had in a fight, but neither of these two came alone, so they both brought back up with them. It turned into a huge brawl, and during this brawl there was a guy named Chase Rader who was with Ronnie. He pulled out a gun and shot 18-year-old Michael Allen Cook, killing him, and then also wounded Marcel's brother. So Ronnie was obviously, he wasn't charged with the shooting itself, but he did plead guilty to battery with substantial bodily harm and for bringing brass knuckles to the fight, which is illegal in Nevada. And he was sentenced to 5 years probation in order to pay over $92,000 in restitution to the victim's mother. He later violated his probation, so the deal fell apart, and then he was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison. Also in May 2012, he was accused by his girlfriend Sally Watts of physically assaulting her during an argument. And in August of that same year, he was arrested on 2 misdemeanor counts, 1 corporal injury and false imprisonment following Sally Watts's complaint. Now, instead of going to trial, he entered a no contest plea to a lesser charge of disturbing the peace, and the domestic violence allegations were dismissed, but he was put on probation for 24 months because of that, you know, pleading guilty to the disturbance plea. So there's that. Now, what I'm putting together, Britney confided in Tommy that she had been talking to someone she believed was Ronnie Radke on Snapchat. She admits that their marriage was very strained at this time, and she just kind of got caught up in all of this. She said that she went to meet this person, you know, believing that it was Ronnie, and they weren't, like, Ronnie wasn't there. Neither was this person, like, allegedly catfishing her. And, you know, she came home to Tommy and wanted to come clean about it all. Tommy pops off and confronts the real Ronnie, who denies ever having any correspondence with Britney whatsoever. And when Tommy's like, what are you talking about? Like, you've been talking with her on Snapchat. Ronnie's like, I've never had a Snapchat. So up until this point, like, this was playing behind the scenes, okay? It hadn't been publicized yet, but then Britney posts on her story on Instagram this picture of Bunny XO and Ronnie's ex, Soraya, who's I think she was a former, I don't think she is like a WWE star anymore. And the post, Britney put like something along the lines of like, I'm thankful for strong women, and then like tags both of them. And Ronnie sees this and he goes off the deep end. He starts leaking the texts from Tommy saying Britney was obsessed with him, you know, messaging him on Snapchat, being unfaithful. He's saying like, I've never had a Snapchat. Like I said, Chelsea and I go like into like all the messages and like we react to like the videos and stuff much deeper on the podcast. If you kind of like that stuff, go over there and check it out. We even talked to Bunny XO, she's kind of interweaved with everybody in this. So she gave a quote for us to, or comment, I guess, for us to like read out. In a nutshell though, Britney had to go to social media and just admit that, yeah, this happened. I did this. I'm embarrassed. I believed that I was talking to this person. And I don't know how it wasn't him, because she gives like specific examples of, you know, them chatting on Snapchat and her being like, okay, like I'll message you later. I've got to go film my podcast. And then a video being sent to her from this person, like looks like Ronnie Radke, like filming in a mirror being like, have fun recording your podcast, babe. And yeah, she's like, if he's saying it's not him, it's not him, I guess. Okay. Like I'm, you know, in general, I just want all of this behind me. She's humiliated. She hates how humiliated, you know, like her husband is. They were going through a very hard time in their marriage, and that she was like actually currently at a hotel at that time. As far as I know, like a few weeks have passed. It sounds like they're like reconciling and like working things out. But who the frick are we to judge? Like we don't know. Every relationship, marriage like has its ups and downs. So, you know, this one happens to be like really publicized, and she even admits, she's like, this is not how I should have handled that situation. I should have handled it better, but this is what unfolded. Now, what's interesting about this, though, is that other people started coming forward about being catfished by Ronnie Radke as well on this Snapchat. One of them was Trisha Paytas, and she said this happened years ago. So this person, whoever it is, has been at it on this Snapchat, catfishing like other like known influencers or celebrities as Ronnie. And I'm like, okay, if it's not Ronnie, then who is it? Because they're not asking for money. This is like an emotional and humiliating con. You know, for Britney, she's told to meet up at his house, and it turns out this was like his old house, and I believe like he wasn't even like living there. And then for Trisha, she was told to meet up with him at his concert, and that there would be tickets for her at the will call. And when she gets there, there's no tickets. So she like talks to like, I think his assistant or like the tour manager or something, and they go ask Ronnie about it and come back and like say to Trisha, like, he has no idea who you are. Like he does not know what we're talking about. And she's like, oh, okay, awesome. So that's what's weird to me, because it's like, even if it's like the humiliation aspect of it, like, is that person there? Like were they in the both situations? And then others, it goes further than just like Trish and Britney and stuff. But like, if you're not being able to see, I'm so creeped out by the whole thing. And Chelsea and I went back and forth wondering like if it really was Ronnie or not. And I don't think it is. But his reactions are concerning, because all of these other stories of celebrities being impersonated and like conning and lying to fans or like whoever, that celebrity is like very empathetic and, you know, apologetic almost, like being like, please don't fall for this. I would never ask you for money. I would never do this. I would never say this. And Ronnie, he's unhinged as like more things come out and like more people say they've been catfished. Like he's unhinged. He was calling Britney awful names, like would not let it go, like story after story after story, just horrible things. He's even in, like I said, people's comments, just fighting with everybody. And I personally would think, like, if someone was impersonating you, you would want to direct the anger at that person and find out who it is. Do you know what I mean? Like, how dare you use me as your scam or your con or whatever the frick you're doing to mess with people's heads and emotions, like not the people who like fell for it. You know what I mean? Like it just, the aggression and the anger just seems like very misplaced. I have so many thoughts. I want to know if you guys like kind of saw all of that go down, because I'm still like, what the heck is going on? And there was like a brief moment where I was like, I don't know why I like think everybody's like into like marketing, like they're trying to like promote and market things, and that they just have unhinged ways of doing it. But like Britney would never like be like the butt of that joke. But Ronnie Radke is like on tour, I think right now with Marilyn Manson. So I was like, is he just like making this go like even further to like Celtic? I don't know. I've gone everywhere. I've spiraled. I'm so done with spiraling. I want to know what you guys think. And I do want you guys to keep in mind, like in all of this, there's not a perfect victim, okay? Like most of them even admit that themselves. But like, you know, if we could all just have like a little bit of, you know, compassion, understanding, you know, share your opinions, but like just respectfully, because we don't know what's going on behind closed doors or what made people lead to like the decisions that they made and clearly regret and are paying for. Literally though, like it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, no one deserves to just be like beaten down further when it's obvious that they're already kind of like in a time of their life where they're already feeling really low. I think that is like one of like the common denominators here. But it's so interesting because these are all like different scenarios. And it's like, sure, there's like the financial end goal that we've seen, but the emotional, a lot of the emotional ones, like those will keep me up at night. I have a friend on social media who I've gotten quite close to who is going, well, She's not going. We're investigating and unraveling one of the most insane catfish stories that happened to her about a year ago. No, I'm lying. Yeah, about a year ago. It's nuts. You have to go listen to it on TikTok. Her name is Rachel Reese. It's nuts, but there's so much more unfolding behind the scenes. There's like kind of like an interweaving with like Elizabeth Teckenbrock. I don't think it has anything to do with her, but like there's questions of like why did like so many people in her life like have catfish situations. It's nuts, you guys. There's so much going on. There's so much going on. I've missed you. I love you. I'm glad you're here. I need to hear your thoughts. I need to stop spiraling. If you're not over at Here for the Clout podcast, please go check it out. Send some support. If you're not listening to or haven't listened to the Elizabeth podcast yet, go check it out. Send some support. We love and appreciate you. We're almost done, actually. The last episode will be next week. Just a little insider scoop. Based on what I just told you right now, we only thought we were going to be doing one season, and I don't think that that's the case. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Okay, I love you. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like and subscribe. We didn't do a riddle today, and I knew that at the beginning, and now I'm really sad that we didn't do a riddle. Should I do one right now? Sure. Okay, well, now that the whole episode's done, like, it's going to be pretty obvious, but I think it's cute. Okay, so today's riddle is, I paint a picture that's not quite true. With silver words, I dazzle you. I take your trust, then take your cash, and vanish fast in one bold dash. Who am I? The answer could be Elizabeth Teckenbrock, actually. I will accept that as an answer. Another one, the answer. Con artist. Catfish too, there's a lot of possibilities. Okay, I gotta go. I love you so much. I'll see you in the next video. I'll miss you terribly. Until then, make sure to love each other, love yourself, and I will see you soon. Bye.